Hare Krishna everyone, we are continuing to read Bhagavad Gita as it is, the book by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Chapter 3, Karma Yoga, Text 28. Tattvavittu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayo guna guneshu vartanta iti matva nasajjate. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, almighty armed Arjuna, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. It's so sweet how Krishna, even though he's giving instructions to Arjuna, he calls him Mahabaho, almighty armed one, almighty armed one. Purport: the knower of the absolute truth is convinced of his awkward position in material association. He knows that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and that his position should not be in the material creation. He knows his real identity as part and parcel of the Supreme, who is eternal bliss and knowledge, and he realizes that somehow or other he is entrapped in the material conception of life. In his pure state of existence, he is meant to dovetail his activities in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He therefore engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness and becomes naturally unattached to the activities of the material senses, which are all circumstantial and temporary. He knows that his material condition of life is under the supreme control of the Lord. Consequently, he is not disturbed by all kinds of material reactions, which he considers to be the mercy of the Lord. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one who knows the absolute truth in three different features, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Tattvavit. For he knows also his own factual position in relationship with the Supreme. Text 29. Prakriter guna sammudha sajante guna karmashu tan akritsna vido mandan kritsna vit na vichalayet. Kritsna vin na vichalayet. Okay. Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge. Very interesting, right? The wise should not unsettle them. Purport: persons who are unknowledgeable falsely identify with gross material consciousness and are full of material designations. This body is a gift of the material nature, and one who is too much attached to the bodily consciousness is called Manda, or a lazy person without understanding of spirit soul. Ignorant men think of the body as the self, They accept bodily connections with others as kinsmanship. The land in which the body is obtained is their object of worship, and they consider the formalities of religious rituals to be the end in themselves. Social work, nationalism, and altruism are some of the activities for such materially designated persons. Under the spell of such designations, they're always busy in the material field. For them, spiritual realization is a myth, and so they are not interested. Those who are enlightened in spiritual life, however, should not try to agitate such materially engrossed persons. Better to prosecute one's own spiritual activities silently. Such bewildered persons may be engaged in such primary moral principles of life as non-violence and similar materially benevolent work. Men who are ignorant cannot appreciate activities in Krishna consciousness, and therefore Lord Krishna advises us not to disturb them and simply waste valuable time. But the devotees of the Lord are more kind than the Lord, because they understand the purpose of the Lord. Consequently, they undertake all kinds of risks, even to the point of approaching ignorant men to try to engage them in the acts of Krishna consciousness, which are absolutely necessary for the human being. Jai. Text 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya dhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Purport. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties, as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation with the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight, as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the good will of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Soul, without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetas. Nirashir means that one has to act on the order of the Master, but should not expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. So not a single cent. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Mai, or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called Nirmama. Nirmama. So it means nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become Vigata Jvara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness, as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. Text 31. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shradhavanto nasuyanto muchyante tepi karmabhih. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully, without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Purport. The injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom, and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive action. But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. Wow, that's beautiful, isn't it? That's what I love about Krishna consciousness. The Lord is so merciful. It says that even though unable to execute such orders, all is needed is faith, firm faith. And factually, it said that the path from Shraddha to Prema is just condensing the faith. So Krishna Prema Bhakti is this very, very, very nicely condensed faith. So faith is really the core. Okay, continuing. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord. But because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely, without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. Haribol. This is such a beautiful, important point. I'm telling you because I've met such heartbreaking defeats and hopeless situations in my life. I found them to be big defeat and great hopelessness, and really just by the support of devotees and by the support and by inspiration of the devotees to be really sincere, actually, to just, that all you can do is just be sincere and have faith and just continue, even though you messed up, even though you made big mistakes, and even though you may have disappointed your superiors. And but then if you really continue, then the Lord, His mercy is really bringing you forward. And to be honest, I've been writing diaries ever since I was 15. And if I remember what I've written, I would always be like writing and like looking at myself and thinking that, I'm really not up to the perfect standard, and I'm going down, and I have to pick up and really improve my standards and my quality, like of japa, of reading, of seva. But interestingly, even though like mostly the the entries of the diaries would be in this kind of genre, in the long run, Krishna always pushes you forward. And then you go a little forward, and then Krishna gives you a little more seva and a little more mercy and blessings, and then you're like looking back. Like right now I look at like 12 years since I've accepted officially my spiritual master and seriously began my spiritual journey consciously as a young adult. I can see that really there's only going forward, and Krishna helps even though we feel hopeless sometimes. Actually, it's one of the qualities of a devotee, Asha Bandha. I really like this class my Guru Maharaj was giving, and he was pointing this out, that devotee is always bound by hope, Asha Bandha. He always has hope that one day Krishna will be merciful, that one day Krishna will bless him and purify him, and he will attain Krishna Prema. So that hope is important. It's a quality of a devotee. Interesting, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We will stop here for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. The link to this book is in the description. Please check it out, read it along with us, and share it with everyone you know. And you can visit our website, shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall continue reading tomorrow. Hare Krishna.